moral of the story is, you have to love making music. Otherwise, the music business will destroy you. The music industry is always romanticized. It sounds so cool, so much fun. It must be incredible to make it, but there is a dark side. The dark side is one that people just don't talk about much anymore, but we're going to talk about it today. I run a program called Cosmic Academy. We have over 700 students, and they see this dark side once in a while, but not at the beginning. At the beginning, it's all about, let's sign that first record. Let's get our first show. Hey, I just played my first festival. It's all very new. It's all very exciting. Not only that, but mostly everyone wants to be your friend. Being the hot new artist is a real thing. But eventually, you start seeing three very dark problems in the music business. Number one, the music business is run by ego. Number two, the music business is based on using. And number three, the music business is very quick to forget. Let's start with that first dark side of the music business. It's incredibly driven by ego. There's almost no business I can think of that compares to the music business in this way. Why? Well, I think it's obvious. The end goal here is to be standing on a stage with thousands and thousands of people staring at you. They're cheering your name. They've bought tickets to see you. They love your stuff. So sure, there's ego part of this. But then there's also this ego within the pecking order between the people that are in the music business and other artists. So if artist X is bigger than artist Y, well, there's a pecking order there. Artist X will be treated better than artist Y. Artist X will decide what happens over artist Y. Very literally, at a show, the headliner gets to dictate everything for the people opening below them. This is a true story, but I had a student play a concert once, and this particular student put out a hit song that you might know if I said it. And they were still, working their way up, and they were still technically opening for a much bigger legendary artist. And at some point, that bigger artist came in my student's dressing room in the green room, and this bigger artist said, "Hey, that hit song you have? You can't play it." My student was like, "Well, why not? We don't understand. It's our hit record." The bigger artist said, "You can't play it because I'm going to play it." And that's just how it goes. And you cannot do anything in that situation. And this ego thing, it's not just on the artist side. It's within the label ranks, within the agencies, within the managers. If someone is above you, well, they know they can help you, and they know that they can hurt you. And that makes them feel powerful. It feeds the ego, and it's so blatantly on display. You literally are listed above, below, your numbers are bigger or smaller. And this comes out in some really sad and horrible ways. The way in which you're spoken to, the way in which people deal with you. You're almost like a lesser human being because you're in a lower slot in the order. And it's like this sick ladder where if you're at level 1, well, then the people at level 2 might not be so great to you. But the people at level 2 get the same treatment from people at level 3. I will say this, though, to hopefully make you feel better. The people at the very, very top at level 10, the people that make it very big, they actually don't seem to have these ego problems. Look at David Guetta. We'll use him as an example. He's probably, objectively, the most successful dance music producer. At Cosmic Academy, we've been very lucky to meet with and do some business dealings with David Guetta and his team. And even though we're just some small production school, they treat us with ultimate respect, and they have no ego. Even if it's on a quick email exchange, it's polite, it's thank you, we appreciate you. It's done in a way where we don't feel like, oh, this is a massive DJ who's top 10 streaming artist in the world, and we're down here. But yet at the same time, some DJ with 5,000 Instagram followers, he'll talk to people like he's a god. It cracks me up that the biggest DJs in the world, people like David Guetta, they're so kind. And they have millions of followers and make millions of dollars. But yet some guy that gets $1,000 a show, he'll be complaining and bitching on the internet that he's on a flight and it's delayed and screw the airline. Even though he's on a flight that he didn't pay for to play a cool show, and he's complaining about it. It's all ego. The second dark part of the business, the music business, is based on using. It's sad to say those words, but it's quite true. The labels are using you to sell the records. The venues and the festivals, they're using you to sell the shows. And you might be using others for your own reasons. So many people in the business are what I call opportunists. They're just looking at each other for opportunities. The relationships aren't based on friendship, nor are they based on real relationship bonds. It's just opportunists, and they're looking to get something to get ahead. In our program, Cosmic Academy, we have this great production school. And if you finish with our classes, you enter this unbelievable community that lasts forever. My favorite thing about the community is we don't let those people in. There's no opportunists. Everyone has to buy into this concept of giving instead of taking. But that taking is precisely what you see a lot in the music business. And this is the stuff you hear the most stories about. Artists feeling like they're being used like some commercial product. Now look at the tragedy of Avicii. This is a guy who dealt with struggles of anxiety and social anxiety, but yet he was being booked to play 300 shows a year. Clearly, he didn't want that, but he was making a lot of money for a lot of people. So he was getting used. And I want to be clear about something. Obviously, there's plenty of labels and venues and festivals and folks out there that aren't looking to take advantage of you. But there are plenty who are. And even sadder, once you're not the hot thing anymore, they discard you. Which brings me to the third dark problem. The music business is very quick to forget. It's all about, what have you done for me lately? And maybe you haven't had a big signing in a while. Maybe you haven't had a big booking in a while. All those label people who you thought were your friends, all those people from the venue who used to give you hugs, they're not taking your calls anymore. This is the saddest section to me. I don't book artists anymore. That's long behind me. But when I did, I booked thousands of artists, and I'd build relationships with them. And I'd book people that I liked. I booked people that did a good job. And sure, sometimes an artist that I would book, they'd be in a lull in their career. And maybe they hadn't had a big record in a while, but I'd still book them. At that same time, I'd have plenty of colleagues of mine. They'd come to me and they'd say, Justin, why are you booking that artist? That artist isn't cool anymore. And I'd say, well, that's your opinion, but they still do a good job. And this is a true and sad part of the business. You work so hard to get to a certain level, and if you don't maintain it, you're forgotten. There's those two terms that I think are quite sad. There's the one-hit wonder and the has-been. You hear those a lot in the music business. Oh, that artist was big in 2012, but they're a has-been. Yeah, they're a great producer still. That hasn't changed. They're still a great DJ. And from what I can see, they're still a great person. But they're not the hot new thing anymore. So the music business will be very quick to forget. Now, if I'm making you massively depressed listening to this, I sincerely apologize. And I want to say there's a lot of amazing people in the music business. There's a lot of great folks who don't operate this way. But there is a dark side to this as well, which is why I said at the very beginning of this video, you have to love making the music. Otherwise, the music business will destroy you. If you're just doing this for the money, well, at some point, that might run out. If you're doing this for the fame, the ego, the achievements, well, at some point, that might run out. This business can be brutal, so you have to love making the music. Some of those artists that I spoke about that I booked 10 years ago, I still talk to some of them. And I openly ask them, I'm like, hey, are you depressed? Are you sad that you're not getting those same bookings? You're not getting those same signings anymore? And the ones that are still happy say, no. I was never in it for that. I was in it for the music, and I still do that. And that's the mentality you need to be doing this. If you're here for any other reason, then maybe you should really think about